Oh, gee. Alright guys, this is another Reacts video. The team seems to like these. I like them too. I get to sit down and I have to run around outside in the heat or the cold. So yeah, I like the idea. The surprising part is always what they give me. So I find, you know, why people put things up on the web sometimes. They must have a very good sense of humor. We're looking, guys, at fence and landscaping fails on TikTok and YouTube.
Just why, bro? Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Okay, this is only an 11-second video, but in the first 3 or 4 seconds, it's yeah, just a little scary. The screws come right out through the pickets. So if somebody actually lays up against that fence or just puts their hand up against the fence, they're going to get impaled. So, you know, if you're trying to deter people from getting up close to your fence, that'll work. And if you don't have a tetanus shot, that's going to hurt. I don't know. I mean, it's really a scary thing when you think about it. If somebody ever scraped up against that fence, they get torn up to shreds. Yeah, lockjaw. That back rail, my only guess is the reason that they've done it this way is to stop the rail from twisting. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the only thing I can think of is they really wanted to hurt somebody on the other side, and they wanted that top rail to stop bending. Wow. I don't know, what can I say? There's just nothing you can say. First of all, I'm not a huge fan of the stockade fences to start with. And yeah, I don't think these are fence professionals putting this together. Somebody just look at that gate. Wow.
So my poor mother got totally ripped off by this guy. He was supposed to build her a new fence.
Well,
for example,
I don't know how many people would fit through that gap anyway, unless you're really, really thin. What are they saying?
Let's start with this rusted lock that only can be locked from the outside. Okay. What in the actual F? Y'all, they charged my 60-something-year-old mother for this.
How many dollars?
Gaps and holes where their dog can get in her yard. And now the guy won't answer and won't give her money back. So she's going to have to pay again to get all of this ripped down.
Oh, gee. Okay. Well, they got no caps. If that fence lasts 7 years, it would be a miracle. Yeah, well, he certainly doesn't belong to any association that I would know of. Get the credentials, man. Wow. Well, I guess that could speak to, you know, going with the lowest bid.
There's gaps and holes where their dog can.
Gaps and holes. It's beyond that. Look, it's completely unlevel. I mean, it's not...
So she's going to have to pay again to get all of this ripped down and buy a new one.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little scary, man.
Ah, Carlos.
What happened? They unloaded the zero-turn lawnmower and just went straight down the hill?
When the new guy doesn't know how to use a string trimmer.
The new guy doesn't know how to use a string trimmer. Oh, isn't that amazing? There's how to strip your grass.
When the new guy doesn't know how to use a string
There's a chuckle
trimmer.
effect I've ever seen one. Jeez. There's the new guy, he's gone. I guess he came at a discount. Say goodbye to that tractor, oh my goodness.
What's going on, everyone? Vince the Longinee here. I have a problem, and maybe some of you have this problem too. See this fence behind me? This is called a shadow box fence.
I think I've seen this guy's video before. I think I even reached out to Vince.
That grows between the pickets here is almost impossible to cut with a string trimmer. Now, if you can see closely here, I've had this fence only for a couple months now, and when I do try to string
So he has the problem everybody has with the weed whackers.
fence, right? So, and it never gets anything in here, so this just grows like crazy.
Shadow box style fences are really tough.
Kind of almost 12, 13, 14 inches long or whatever. And you know, it's just a mess. So I needed to find some way to get around this and to be able to cut this. Now, one solution that I thought of was, well, I could just cut the bottom of the fence all along here.
No.
But I really didn't
But
do
your
that.
animals will get through and it would look terrible.
To just cut out the grass and put like a strip of stone or something like that.
No, but you could use
The reason being,
landscape border.
almost 500 feet of fence here. I mean, it's a lot of fence, and you know, I did put this in myself. I probably should have thought about that ahead of time.
Yeah, a lot of them, you know, have a bottom rail that sits on either side so that you don't do that between the posts.
Is what's known as a reciprocating attachment or rotary scissors in some cases, depending on who you go with. This one actually reciprocates back and forth, so you have a top disc and a bottom disc, and as this thing runs, this blade just rotates back and forth between the top blade, giving you like a scissor cut action.
Yeah, that's kind of like a an edger on a for a hedge trimmer. Does a similar idea.
And although my fence is pretty low to the ground,
Yeah, and he's got all the posts on one side, so that would be easy to use one pair of fence armor for. So for every post, he would only use one half. That means you get twice the amount of fence armor use.
because I didn't want it to come into contact with the soil. Now it is all pressure treated wood and it can contact the soil, but I just thought, you know what, I thought at the time, I thought that would be enough to get a string trimmer underneath of the fence. Turns out it wasn't. So this tool actually does a really good job of getting underneath the fence, and let me show you how it works.
All right. Well, that's an interesting solution for that application. It's not damaging the posts or the pickets, but when he gets to a post, he won't be able to get under it. Yeah, that's still a mess. You know, this might be a good idea to use the TrimBuster solution, which will go under the pickets and stop the grass from growing altogether. Landscape border is inexpensive enough that you can run it across the boards and it won't damage it. TrimBuster, you don't have to do any edging. It's basically the panels you've seen that go underneath the pickets or the fabric and stop grass from growing up at all. The post cutout can be, 3.5, right? Because it's 8 inches wide. That post cutout can be any shape we want it. It'll just be a little bit of a challenge to install it because there's not a lot of room. And with that gap, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to install it, but it can be done for sure. Then you can still use the fence armor on the posts.
It'll blow all this away. All this is cut.
But I mean, it's certainly better than what he had.
Words. And blow all that out, and you're left with.
But as a homeowner, he can do that. A landscaper would never do that. Go change assemblies, change whatever, get it set up to do that fence. That ain't gonna happen. So TrimBuster or landscape border, along with fence armor. The other thing on this video, you'll notice his posts have no caps. So the end grain is gonna fail. It's gonna start to crack way before it's needed. But it's a good idea. Okay, he's almost using his trimmer as a blower, getting the grass off the driveway. All right. Similar to what the last guy did, he's getting the filament under the pickets. In this case, he doesn't have any posts even to look at on this side. All the posts are on the other side. Maybe the pallets could be taken away, just saying. It's not his fault. Well, I think John did a good job. He got the filament under the fence and didn't damage the posts or the pickets.
Back this way on the fence, and then what you see left standing up along the wood is I'm going to come back and I'm
I don't know. It might have been an idea to trim this a little earlier. Let's cut the grass once a month.
Contact is down low at the grass line, but anything that's hanging out,
That looks like St. Augustine.
gets sliced off.
Might be in Georgia or North Florida.
Now, at that point, if you really need to get picky about it, then you can lightly spot spray what's left when you leave, and it'll be perfect the next time you come back. But I think it's going to be perfect anyways. Let's see what we got.
Well, you never want to spray Roundup to kill your grass for a job like that. Never. Why poison the ground when you can trim it properly? So it looks like he's trying to get underneath the pickets, is he? And as a fence installer, you know, obviously you want to get those pickets down close to the ground. But not to the point where you can't get underneath it with an edger or a trimmer. It doesn't have to touch the ground, because in the end, if it's touching the ground, the bottom of those pickets are going to rot. He's done what Johnny did in the last video. He's gone underneath the pickets. And what's interesting is they don't show the inside where the posts are, because if they showed that, they'd be weed whacking the posts. So it's maybe the point of the video is just on the pickets, but if they go on the inside of the fence, all those posts are going to get hacked up. How to trim fence corners.
Let's talk about some more tips when you are string trimming and edging the lawn. So if you're mowing the lawn yourself,
No, homes, lawn, and pests.
you're trimming the right side of your post over here. Usually gets nice and clean. You get all the grass with your string trimmer. However, when you come over here, you may notice along the left side of every post, there's always grass. This is just because of the direction that the head is spinning. So this head spins counterclockwise. So
Yeah, he's right about that. It's also the direction that you trim. If you went from left to right or right to left, clockwise or counterclockwise.
get in this corner. So here's a simple fix. Just turn your trimmer upside down and get it spinning the correct direction. That's all you have to do. Don't worry about getting down there and hand pull. Just flip it around and your lawn will look a lot better. You don't have to worry about that ugly grass.
That's a perfect application for a fence armor Demi. What is he trying to do here? Oh my God, this looks like a very, very dangerous situation here. What is he hitting the saw with the hammer?
I got it.
Oh my God.
All right, so that
the
wedge.
size of that saw for the
that's a
size
good
of the
thing to
tree. I don't know. I don't know what that shit. This, I don't know. Some people want to be in the hospital, I think. Wow. You really want to use it as a teeter-totter? Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow, wow. How many people end up in the hospital with these videos?
It's falling. Oh no, it's on their fence.
Oh.
Oh no.
What can I say? Be sure to stay tuned for more Fence Armor React videos.